Communications, Chapter 8. Defining communication. The invoking of shared common meaning in another person. And interpersonal communication between two people or more. This is an excellent diagram of the communication model. We all communicate. We just have various methods to do it. You have the communicator with their perceptual screens or windows. You have the message, something you're relaying. You have who you're relaying it to, the receiver, with their perpetual screens and windows. And if required, feedback from the receiver back to the communicator. Elements of the model. Communicators, the person originating, receiver receiving. Perpetual screens are the windows that influence the quality, accuracy, and clarity of the communication. The message, that thought or feeling that you're relaying. Feedback, language, data, information, and richness. The ability of that medium or channel to elicit the meaning in the receiver. Looking at the chart on communication media, and we're looking at two facets, richness and data capacity. Top, face-to-face, would have one of the highest richness, that medium of face-to-face, with usually little data. Drop down to the very bottom when you have a formal numeric report, something that you're possibly computer generating, that will have the lowest information richness, but will have the highest data. When you think of reflective listening, one of the best examples, if you call 1-800, usually you will get a customer service representative who will tend to paraphrase or repeat. That is an example of reflective listening. Okay, when you're looking at your verbal response, you're identifying that you have connected, paraphrase as I indicated, clarify implicit thoughts, in other words, something that might be being inferred but's not real clear, and then possibly go even deeper to what's really not being said, which can be dangerous. So reviewing the levels of verbal response: affirm contact, paraphrase, clarify the implicit, reflect core feelings. Nonverbal elements. Silence. Some people are very uncomfortable with silence, but can also be a good time for people to think about the conversation. Eye contact. One-way versus two-way. Two-way means you will usually run into some sort of feedback, so you want some of that give and take in the communication. One-way communications, you are usually giving instructions or directions, and feedback isn't necessarily something that's expected. So if you had to think of ways that good supervisors would be good communicators, speakers, listeners, persuasive leaders, sensitive, empathetic, and informative. Most of us are probably very familiar with barriers to communication. something that blocks or distorts a successful communication. Physical separation, status difference, gender, cultural diversity, and language. Incivility and civility. We've probably heard the statement of, please be civil when you speak. So civil is integrity, dignity, proper, informative communication. Keyword non-defensive. Incivility basically is disrespectful, rude, defensive. What are some ways to lead into non-defensive communication? Define the situation, understand the person's point of view, acknowledge they have feelings and what they are, get back to facts. Dominant defensiveness, active aggressive, attacking, taking the offense. Subordinate defensive, more passive, withdrawing. Kind of passive aggressive is a term that goes with this. These are different types of defense tactics, and this is in your book, looking at some types of responses. Nonverbal communication. In my mind, that will sometimes speak louder than anything said. Areas that go into nonverbal: prosthetics, kinesics, facial and eye, and paralanguage. The perception and use of space, body movements, cues with face and eye, tone, duration, loudness. Saying the same words to someone with different tone can mean a very different message. When you think about proximity and space, we all talk about we need our space, not getting too close. This is an example of some zones with the U.S. culture. Seating dynamics. Sitting next to each other, cooperation. Cross, competition. Communication, where you can see each other. Non-communication is illustrated here with X, stopping communication between the two O's. Good examples of all sorts of nonverbal cues and how they can be interpreted. A manager sighing, that may show disinterest. Manager looking away, divided attention. I think that's a huge nonverbal these days. Communicative disease, the absence of heartfelt communication in a human relationship, which can lead to loneliness and social isolation. Healthy communication, positive, healthy dialogue, trust and truthfulness. Many things have changed in the technology area that provides for enhanced and almost instantaneous communication. Concern, some personal. You can't see the verbal cues because it's usually an electronic transmission. Kind of makes people equal. Information overload. And leads to impatience in general. This is an activity that you may do that would be just a class activity. It's your choice to do it.